No pity in the playbook. Shedeur Sanders blocks out Coach Prime's cancer battle to prove he belongs in Cleveland. Few moments in the world of sports can halt a conversation mid-sentence. But when Deion Sanders, an icon known for flash, dominance, and unwavering confidence, revealed he had been battling bladder cancer, the silence was deafening. It wasn't a headline. It was a gut punch to the football world. But while fans, friends, and even critics came to grips with the harsh diagnosis, inside the Sanders family, something even more sobering was unfolding. The most public football family in America was navigating the most private of storms. And at the center of it was Shedeur Sanders, the youngest son, embarking on his NFL journey while his father was fighting for his life. The diagnosis that changed everything. Coach Prime's cancer was not discovered during routine oncology checks. It was uncovered by accident, through a heart scan. That scan led doctors down a path of discovery that would ultimately save Sanders' life. They found a high-risk, high-grade tumor invading the wall of his bladder. The odds were unforgiving. Doctors at CU Anschutz didn't mince words. The tumor had a serious chance of recurrence. Worse, if it spread, the survival rate dropped to 10%. Sanders didn't hesitate. He chose the most aggressive path, full bladder removal. And in the months that followed, he lost 25 pounds, endured a catheter, and rebuilt his life, not as a former Hall of Famer or a headline-making coach, but as a man simply trying to stay alive. It was a transformation that rocked his family. But don't mistake the absence of tears for a lack of emotion. Inside the Sanders household, there were no drawn-out speeches, no pity parties, no crutches, only a quiet, collective resolve. Shedeur's silence was his strategy. As the sports world sent prayers and platitudes, Shedeur Sanders did something few expected. He blocked it all out. It wasn't neglect. It wasn't denial. It was discipline. Stay focused mentally. Dad, he's one person that we handle what we gotta do, Shedeur said. So, it was something that, we really ain't need to have no formal conversation about. To outsiders, that may sound cold, but in the Sanders family, it was the ultimate show of respect. Deion didn't want his illness to become a roadblock in his children's dreams, and Shedeur made sure it didn't. Y'all can't sit here and feel sorry for me, Deion had told them, and they didn't. Instead, they stuck to group chats. Encouragement came through emojis, updates, and a mutual understanding that no one would use pain as an excuse. The curse of a name that's bigger than football. Shedeur Sanders wasn't just battling distractions at home. He was facing them every time he stepped onto the field in Berea, Ohio. As the Cleveland Browns opened training camp, all eyes weren't just on their quarterback competition. They were on Deion's son. Coach Prime's kid wasn't a player. He was a headline, and Shedeur hated it. In a moment of raw honesty, Shedeur admitted he didn't want his dad showing up at Browns camp. Not yet. I don't want him coming to see me right now, because I want to get to where I want to go, then for him to see me, he said. I don't want him to come and see me get a couple of reps and he's cheering like a good dad. Like, nah, he can't be proud of me right now. I got to get to where I'm going. It wasn't disrespect. It was detachment. A necessary firewall between a father's shadow and a son's emergence. Coach Prime isn't just a visitor. He's a spectacle. His presence shifts atmospheres. And for a rookie trying to earn respect in the NFL, Shedeur knew that spotlight could become a curse. He wasn't willing to be a storyline. He needed to be a quarterback. You gotta be human at some point. In one of the most vulnerable moments of his media availability, Shedeur peeled back the armor and revealed the emotional weight he's been carrying. On the field, off the field, you know what I go through. So then, you gotta be some type of human at some point in the way I'm doing everything and how I'm handling everything that's thrown at me, he said. What he's referring to isn't just his father's illness. It's the endless comparisons, the pressure to perform, the constant scrutiny of being Deion's son. It's the knowledge that every throw he makes, every word he speaks, is being weighed against a family legacy that spans decades. And yet, Shedeur hasn't asked for a break. In fact, he's dared the world to judge him solely on his own merit. "You got no choice but to applaud at that," he said, not as a plea, but as a statement of truth. A family that doesn't flinch. The Sanders family has always been unapologetically loud. From social media antics to Coach Prime's signature bravado, they don't exactly do subtle. But when it came to cancer, they responded with grace and grit. There were no cameras documenting the worst days. No viral videos of bedside moments. What they offered the public was what they offered each other: resilience. Deion's journey post-surgery was difficult. The man known for electrifying football fields now had to relearn how to manage everyday life without a bladder. There were embarrassing moments, painful moments, but he never hid. "Everybody get checked out," Deion said in a recent interview, "because if it wasn't for me getting tested for something else, they wouldn't have stumbled upon this." His transparency turned his battle into something bigger than football. It became a movement, a call for men, especially black men, to stop ignoring symptoms and start having conversations about health. The true burden of legacy. For Shedeur, the weight isn't just in throwing spirals or reading defenses. It's in carrying a name that means something to millions. In his mind, Deion isn't just Coach Prime. He's dad, and that's complicated. He loves him, he respects him, but he doesn't want to be him. That's why Cleveland is more than just an NFL destination. It's a proving ground, a place where Shedeur Sanders can finally be judged as a quarterback, not as the son of an icon. And he knows that won't be easy. "It's a gift and a curse at the same time," Shedeur admitted, referring to his last name. "Sure, the spotlight can shine bright, but it can also blind a locker room." So he's building in silence. No shortcuts, no sympathy, no fanfare. He's carving out a space that belongs to him. The path forward. With his father recovering and Brown's camp heating up, Shedeur Sanders knows the window to impress is narrowing. But he's never been one to beg for attention. Instead, he's earning every snap, every rep, every ounce of trust. He doesn't want Deion standing on the sideline with a camcorder or clapping in the front row. Not yet. He wants him to show up when there's something real to celebrate. When the work has been done. When the noise has quieted and all that remains is truth. He wants him to see not the boy he raised, but the man he became. Conclusion. No excuses, only growth. In today's world of clickbait and controversy, the Sanders family could have easily turned this chapter into content, but they didn't. Deion Sanders chose to battle cancer with quiet strength. Shedeur Sanders chose to chase NFL greatness with blinders on. And together, without theatrics or tears, they rewrote what toughness means. They didn't talk about it. They just did it. As Browns fans await the next quarterback to step up behind Deshaun Watson, they may find their answer not in the arm of a legacy, but in the heart of one. Because Shedeur Sanders isn't just playing for a roster spot. He's playing for a legacy forged not by his father's fame, but by his own fire. Deion Sanders' ultimate sacrifice for Mama Connie, as Karuji Tran breaks silence on emotional hospital moment. When Deion Sanders returned to the spotlight following his long, quiet absence, fans immediately noticed something had changed. The swagger was there. The confidence remained. But etched into his face was something deeper. Something that couldn't be masked with charisma or hidden behind sunglasses. It wasn't just a football coach returning to the field. It was a survivor stepping back into the arena of life. What Sanders had endured, largely in silence, would have crushed most men. But he didn't let the world in, not even the most important woman in his life. His mother, Connie Knight, knew nothing of the grueling battle her son fought behind closed doors. And for Deion Sanders, that secret wasn't just hard to keep. It was the greatest sacrifice of all. A silent battle with a deadly enemy. During the 2025 NFL Draft, Deion Sanders told the world he was absent due to foot issues. Privately, however, he was grappling with something far more serious: bladder cancer, a disease that doesn't just challenge the body, it tests the soul. A routine heart CT scan revealed a high-grade tumor that was invading the bladder wall. The odds weren't good. According to Sanders' medical team, The cancer had a high likelihood of recurrence. Once it metastasizes, fewer than 10% of patients survive beyond 5 years. Faced with this brutal reality, Coach Prime made a radical, life-altering decision. He had his bladder removed. It would be his 14th surgery since 2021, and arguably the most defining. While the world speculated, Sanders quietly began recovering. No cameras, no press conferences, and, most notably, no call to Mama Connie. "My mama can't worry about me. Why would a son keep something so heavy from the woman who raised him?" In Deion's own words, "She doesn't know anything. Let me tell my mama that," he said during an episode of Well Off Media. "We can't do that. My mama has her own stuff going on. She can't worry about me." The decision wasn't born out of pride, but of protection. Connie Knight had been Deion's foundation from day one. As a single mother, she worked long hours to support him and his siblings. Whether it was cleaning hospitals or holding multiple jobs, she sacrificed her life to give him one. That's why he promised, at just 7 years old, that one day she'd never have to work again. And he kept that promise. But some debts are too deep to repay. When Deion fell ill, he chose not to burden her with the fear. Instead, he battled the pain in silence, knowing she would have dropped everything to care for him, at the cost of her own well-being. A childhood memory that still haunts. Deion Sanders didn't become primetime in a vacuum. His fame wasn't manufactured. It was forged in fire, hardship, and humiliation. One of the most defining moments of his youth came not from a game, but a memory. As a child, Deion was part of a local football team, surrounded by peers whose parents were doctors, lawyers, and professionals. His mother, Connie, worked in a hospital, but not as a nurse or physician. She was a cleaner. One night, a teammate spotted her pushing a cart at the hospital and mocked Deion mercilessly. "I was ashamed of my mama," Sanders admitted, choking on the memory. "She cleaned up the hospital, and I was ashamed of my mama, who sacrificed, who loved me, who protected me, and who gave me everything." That sting became his fuel. From that day on, he vowed that no one would ever have a reason to look down on his family again. The chains, the suits, the showmanship, it wasn't arrogance. It was armor. Armor forged from a boy's promise to his mother that the world would respect her name. The hidden heart behind Coach Prime. Despite his image as a brash, media-savvy figure, Deion Sanders has always been deeply rooted in family. His choice to shield his mother from his cancer diagnosis wasn't cold. It was compassionate. Throughout his career, Connie Knight remained his spiritual compass. She never had the luxury of watching his high school games. She was too busy working to make sure he had cleats on his feet and food on the table. Even as he rose to become a Hall of Famer and championship-winning coach, her influence never left him. So, when Deion faced the fight of his life, he returned the favor. He carried the weight so she wouldn't have to. A life forever changed. The aftermath of surgery was brutal. Living with a catheter, losing 25 pounds, having to relearn simple daily functions. Sanders admitted it was a whole life change. But it gave him a new purpose, to urge others, especially black men, to take their health seriously. "Everybody get checked out," he said. "If it wasn't for me getting tested for something else, they wouldn't have stumbled upon this." His vulnerability has turned his pain into purpose. His willingness to speak openly has saved lives. And behind it all remains the unspoken truth. He did it without alarming the one person whose worry would have broken him. Meanwhile, a rumor spreads. As if fighting cancer wasn't enough, Coach Prime found himself facing another type of attention after his recovery. This time, it wasn't the media or opposing coaches. It was gossip about his love life, and it spread like wildfire. The spark? A single video clip. Karrueche Tran, the Emmy-winning actress known for her roles in Claws and The Bay, was spotted at Deion Sanders' hospital bedside. In footage from Well Off Media, viewers caught a glimpse of Tran visibly emotional as a doctor explained Deion's surgery. Her presence raised eyebrows. Her reaction raised questions. Fans quickly asked, were they dating? Claudia Jordan weighs in. The rumor gained more steam when Claudia Jordan, TV host and friend of Sanders' ex-fiancée Tracy Edmonds, commented on the situation. I do remember Tracy hearing a rumor about Karrueche dating Deion, so she saw her at an event. She asked her if she was dating him. She said no and laughed it off, Jordan said on a podcast. According to Jordan, there was no tension, just curiosity and a denial. But for many fans, that denial didn't quite stick. Tran had been there during Deion's most vulnerable moment. Her emotions didn't seem staged, and the absence of a firm denial from either party only made the whispers grow louder. Asante Samuel asks the question. Former NFL star Asante Samuel took it upon himself to ask the question directly. On his podcast, Samuel put Deion on the spot. Everyone's seen Karrueche Tran by your side during your hospital visit. Everyone wants to know what that friendship is. Deion's response? Classic Prime. He smiled, cited a bad connection, and shut his laptop mid-interview. The internet predictably exploded. Some called it avoidance. Others saw it as confirmation. Whatever the case, Deion Sanders didn't deny it, and Karrueche Tran has remained just as silent. What we know and what we don't. Are they dating? Are they just close friends? Was it support, sympathy, or something deeper? As of now, only Deion and Karrueche know the truth. But regardless of their relationship status, one thing is clear. She was there when he needed someone most. And in that moment, her presence spoke louder than words. For a man who battled cancer without alerting his mother, perhaps having someone quietly by his side wasn't just welcome. It was necessary. A new chapter for Coach Prime. Now cancer-free, Deion Sanders has returned to his post at Colorado, looking to lead the Buffaloes into a new season. But he's not the same man who left. He's leaner, he's more vulnerable, and in many ways he's stronger. This journey wasn't about winning games. It was about survival. And through it all, Sanders has shown what real toughness looks like. Not in pads, but in persistence. Not in touchdowns, but in transparency. He carried the burden of illness silently to protect the people he loves. He kept his promise to his mother. And now, whether with or without Karrueche Tran, he's writing a new story. One where love, sacrifice, and legacy are the main characters.